Monday, February 9th, 2026, and the time now is 6 p.m. And I will call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023, by resolution number 21-R-2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website and designated posting place 24 hours prior to this meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings and public hearings. The guidelines are available online and on the entry table. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda for persons in attendance at Town Hall to address the board. The first is limited to items on the agenda, and the second public comment opportunity allows any subject, whether it is on the agenda or not, to be addressed. Mary, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris. Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Crane.
Here.
Trustee Hagan.
Here.
Trustee Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, February 9th, 2026, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Please join me in a moment of silence for loved ones lost. Thank you very much for your time. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you once again. We'll move on to review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries, and we have an agenda for this evening's meeting. Next is our staff report by our town manager, and ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustees, you have my report. There's a couple of things I'd like to add. First of all, just kind of put this tentatively April 4th for a soft opening for O'Reilly's and a ribbon cutting. We're working with them on that, but that's where it's looking. They're really, really making some progress on that store. So put that on your calendars. Also, this Sunday at 4 o'clock at Public Works, the police will have a badge pinning ceremony for the officers who haven't been pinned yet. So you're all welcome to come if you'd like to, which is kind of nice right after Valentine's Day. I'm sure Chief picked it because of that, right? Okay, and then County Road 32 closed again. First, it was closed for 5 days because of CDOT demolishing the bridge overhead. Well, now it's closed for the Little Thompson 30-inch water line project. Now, it's supposed to open back up on the 21st of February, assuming everything goes as planned. But don't get too happy with it being open, because soon after that, the county's going to close it to start working on the roundabout on County Road 32 and 9.5. So, I mean, I just like to drib and drab out some of this information because I know it's frustrating, but just remember, by about hopefully the end of the summer, both those roundabouts will be built. 9.5 will be running full tilt, both miles of it. So just bear with us. I know it's tough, but we saw some great progress in the last couple days on the intersection in downtown. If you've noticed, they poured so much sidewalk. So we really, with Burnt Mountain in there, we're really getting a lot of work done. So trying to look at the bright side. And those are all my additions. If you had any questions, comments.
Questions or comments for Helen tonight? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much for your time. We'll move on to our first informational item tonight will be traffic and pedestrian safety cameras. This will be introduced by our Chief of Police, Brent Newmakes. Sir, you have the roll.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. I'm gonna try to do something I haven't done before here, which is share my screen. Looks like the first part's gonna work anyway. Maybe. There we go. I wanted to share some information with you about camera enforcement. You're hearing a lot about it in Colorado. There were some law changes that opened up some of that, and a lot of it is related to speed enforcement. But part of what I want to share with you is with some new technologies, there's other areas of enforcement which I'm particularly interested in that include basically intersection enforcement, which would enforce stop sign, red light, failing to yield to pedestrians, those types of violations with one camera. In particular, with our recent pedestrian being that was struck in the intersection at Third and Welker, this kind of I think became a little bit more important. So I just want to share with you a brief overview of kind of what the law says and the philosophy of it and what the technology is. I'm not asking for any decisions tonight, but just want as a little bit of a educational brief. So part of the philosophy of utilizing a camera is certainly that officers can't be everywhere. And so by targeting areas that are of particular importance, either to reduce the amount of violations in mass or to reduce accidents in particular in some areas, that's really the philosophy of utilizing cameras is that it's very non-discretionary. It treats everyone the same. It's on 24/7 and maybe on the occasional very adverse weather conditions might be the only thing that would interrupt that. So essentially you get enforcement 24/7, 365, which is quite different than what you get from police officers who can only be in certain areas, limited hours of the day, limited hours of their shift. So very much many more restrictions than what you can get from a camera. A big difference about that enforcement, obviously, is that there is no personal contact, right? That's one thing about officers issuing a citation and whether it be a a citation with the hook that you're obligated to pay that citation or appear at a court date that's on the citation. The difference here is this is a civil infraction, so this is does not include any criminal infractions. It's all civil, and it's only done through payment of a fine. Unless in some cases the person refuses to pay or whatever, that could transition to a criminal case. But those are extremely rare from what we're seeing in most jurisdictions. CDOT has quite a bit of information about this on their website. And in particular, this is of interest to us because CDOT speed cameras are coming to an I-25 near you in our jurisdiction. And they plan to turn those on in March, where they'll be giving warnings for 30 days and then turn those on for ticketing sometime in April is the current plan. Their system is a little bit different than some systems in that there's a number of cameras. I think there's about 4 in a row, and it measures your vehicle speed twice over a given, I'm sorry, it measures the time it takes you to travel a certain distance and uses that to calculate the average speed of the vehicle. So it's essentially capturing a picture of the vehicle by each camera, and there's 4 in a row, and that's how it's getting that average speed. Obviously, for us, that would be more difficult because we're typically targeting a particular area. So we use a different technology like LiDAR that replaced radar and utilizes a laser to measure speed, and it's at a given point. And so difference in a couple of those technologies. But on CDOT's website, they do say purpose of their program is to reduce crashes. What they're seeing is an uptick in particularly in fatal crashes is most of what they're concerned about. With advances in vehicle safety systems, we would expect fatal crashes to actually be reducing or going down, and that's not what they're seeing with the stats that they present here. So from 2022 with 10 fatalities, that essentially skyrocketed to 31 in 2024. That's certainly way too many fatalities, and we would like to see that go down. So their plan is to be strategic in where they deploy these cameras in an attempt to reduce the number of fatal crashes. I quoted the Senate bill in here. That was the piece of legislation I referred to earlier that authorized these camera enforcement programs and the use of automated vehicle identification systems. That's what the AVIS stands for. Fact sheet on their website. Speeding is one of the leading factors of fatal crashes. And so that's why speeding is in particular targeted. Through a survey they did, they found that 70% of Colorado drivers admitted to speeding. And work zones in particular are challenging because of all the, as you know, for us to do enforcement in our current work zone out on I-25, there's almost nowhere to pull someone over. So it's very hazardous to try to do that, and you almost are creating more issues by attempting that than you are not. So it makes it very difficult. By the use of automated speed enforcement, obviously, that makes it much safer. Officers not involved, and everyone in violation is getting a reminder in the mail to knock that off, stop speeding. And what they found, they did their pilot project on 119 between Longmont and Boulder, and they found about a 70% reduction from when they started, the number of violations they were seeing until it sort of tapered off and plateaued was about a 70% reduction in the number of violators. The different type of cameras, as I said, speed camera is most common. Those can be the timed ones like I talked about, measuring your time to complete a certain distance, or the LiDAR, which is instantaneous use of a laser to measure your speed. Red light, stop sign cameras can be that failure to stop at an intersection and a picture or video is taken. AI can also be utilized to track those movements. And this is what has made pedestrian right-of-way enforcement possible, is that the AI is able to identify a vehicle versus a person walking. And so you can see that, and you'll be able to see that in the videos that I'm going to share here in a minute. This is a map of Mead. Sorry, it's a little bit difficult to see, but this is zoomed in. So at the top is County Road 36. At the bottom is Welker. And those little red stripes are areas where the 85th percentile of people traveling through there are speeding greater than 6 over. So that was just sort of an off-the-cuff one that I grabbed, but just to show you that Mead is not without its issues with violations of speeding. And of course, you might want to know what these systems cost and what it takes to operate that. The equipment costs vary. There are different companies involved in this. Obviously, they're trying to make money out of the deal. The most expensive piece of this is the camera. So there are different ways of getting into this and owning your own equipment or leasing equipment. Some agencies have started off with a handheld unit, put their officers out as much as they can to start the program going. Once they had enough revenue, then they bought cameras and put them in place and continued to build the program that way. Another company in particular that has the technology for the AI of the pedestrian right away and stop light violations charges $1,000 a month for their camera. And so different ways of doing those. The cost in the companies that I've been looking at, obviously, do all of the mailing out of the tickets and collecting the fines, and then essentially send the client, who would be us, a check. And that system of the way that works is they charge anywhere from $10 to $15 per ticket. So actually in some cases it's per ticket, in other cases it's per suspected violation. So we have the ability to review each and every one of those violations and verify that it's actually a violation before we authorize them to send out a ticket. But in some cases, the company still charges you $10 for that violation that they detected, whether you send the ticket or not. Other companies don't. It's more of a fee for each ticket that they actually send out. The law in Colorado does dictate the fine for speeding, which was $40 in the first year, I believe went up to $75. So you can kind of do the math of how many violations would you need to pay $1,000 a month for a camera. And you come up with a little over 30. You estimate that you hope 70% or higher are going to actually pay those tickets. About 50 violations a month for one of those cameras that costs $1,000 a month, which is kind of the most expensive setup, if you will. Statute again, which in this case, Avis enforcement, like the state's doing, and they require in 10 plus over the speed limit for those violations. And they're still working out how they're going to deal with 25 plus, because that becomes a criminal matter. So they're trying to figure out if State Patrol has the resources to send people out and track those people down and serve them a ticket. That's still kind of in the works. And then the fine recently, like I said, in 2026, updated to $75. So I have a few videos I wanted to share with you, just to give you an idea of how some of these cameras operate. It's not sure. There we go. So this is a video of a violation. Let's see if I can scroll just a little bit here. The red box indicates a vehicle. So that's AI identifying a violator vehicle. And so it's going to track it through the video. And if there were a person come into this frame, it would draw like a green box around them and identify them as a person. So you can see this is our construction zone with the post office in the background and the stop sign you can see just above the bump sign there. So this is what a common video would look like, someone rolling through the stop sign and failing to stop, so identified as a violation. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting to the okay, here's another violation. And so you can see in this one, the green boxes are around the kids on the bicycles, which are just at the right corner of the intersection. This is actually looking from the middle school across the street at 7th, down 7th Street to the north. There is snow, excuse me, snow on the street, so the crosswalk is a little bit difficult to see, which is why we have these signs in the middle of the road. Helps to identify the crosswalk. Clearly, kids on the bicycles are right there in the corner getting ready to cross. And you can see the red box on the van, so you probably guess what's going to happen. Sorry, I think it froze on me. Not at actual speed. Anyway, the van continues through the intersection, does not yield to the two children on the bicycles. That's video of the violation there. And I had one more, but it was just a speeding by the high school. And there was a camera down just north of the high school catching traffic that was headed southbound on County Road 7 past the high school. And about midway between 28 and the north entrance of the high school, and a car was going by at about 65 miles an hour. But I'm having I'm having trouble accessing that, so I'll skip that one. That was the end of my presentation. Again, it was just a little bit educational to show you kind of what's out there and what's possible and some of the things that we might look at investigating and looking into in the future. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those at this time.
Thanks, Chief. Questions? Go ahead. Trustee Crane and then
So,
Trustee France.
so my question is, the pedestrian that got hit previously with the cameras set up, how would that have changed that scenario?
It would not in that case. I mean, if someone's going to hit someone in the crosswalk, the camera's not going to stop them from doing that. However, the purpose of the camera is to address that type of behavior. If that person is used to, not watching for pedestrians, how many times have they gone through that intersection when there was someone standing there or a step out into the crosswalk? And so they would be getting a ticket, at that time to address that behavior, make them aware that they have to watch for pedestrians. So it's obviously not going to stop them from hitting someone that's there, but it certainly addresses that behavior and highlights it for people that have had close calls and
What
not
was
learned
that
a lesson.
situation a hit and run, or did that person stop?
That person stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said it was civil only tickets. Does it change to criminal at any point, or do you have to go through the court system?
So yeah, they're designed to be civil only. So as long as people pay those, there's no points associated with that. So essentially, there is some incentive to not let it get to be criminal because you're not losing any points off your license. And in these cases, they have access to see the video of the violation. Most people aren't really too interested in going to court and having the judge watch a video of them clearly committing the violation. So there's, very few of those end up in court. There are cases where people just demand their day in court, and that there's a process for that, and they end up in our muni court. But we wouldn't expect that to be any type of high volume. Hudson's been doing this for a little while, and they have had very few cases come through their court. So,
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Trustee Stranz, and then trustee Cartwright, and then trustee Hagan.
Thank you. Chief, I just want to clarify something that you said in regards to the costs, the $1,000 a month cost. Is that dealing with a third party? Is that a party who does all of that for us, takes the pictures, sends out the tickets, collects the money?
yes,
So it is totally a third party organization.
yes, it is.
that does that.
Yes.
And
Well, with one exception, those violations have to be reviewed from someone from our department who verifies that it's a violation and we want a ticket sent out. So for instance, there was a camera set up at Fifth and Welker, which was catching stop sign violations. So it noted several stop sign violations where people drove through the stop sign while our crossing guard was in the middle of the intersection directing them through.
Oh.
Those are not violations.
Mm-hmm.
They're following the direction of the crossing guard clearly. So those would be the types of things we would be watching for and weeding out so that those types of non-violations were not sent out. So there is some impetus on us to, there is some tasking for us to run one of these programs and be able to review those violations. There is some time in that.
so this third party then issues the violation, collects the money, and then they charge us a percentage, $10 to $15 per ticket,
Yes,
for the processing of all of that.
yes.
And do we have a history currently of how many tickets we issue a month?
We put that on the blotter, and it varies depending on.
What's an average?
I would say 40.
Okay. And what do we do with, because if I understand it correctly, nowadays, if you pulled me over and you asked for my license and registration and all that fun stuff, it also gives you, the police officer, the opportunity to see if there's any outstanding warrants or if there's anything else in the system that you need to know about me. So we're not going to be checking any of that stuff with this.
Actually, this law has is actually not towards the driver. It's towards the registered owner of the vehicle is responsible for these tickets. So that's a big distinction between an officer making a stop. They're going to write the ticket to the person sitting in the seat driving the car. This system is designed to send a ticket in the mail to the registered owner. And
So if I loan my car to you and you decide to fly through the sign, I got to pay for it?
yep.
We're going to have some chats.
Mhm.
And what do we do with non-payment? Because I know that there are people out there, when you give them a ticket, it's,
Yep. Same with some other systems. We'd set up a system of collections.
do we do
primarily.
that or does a third party do that?
We may have some role in that, but the third party could do that.
For a fee?
Well, I think it's depending on the contract. Yeah, some of them include that already, and some not. So it would depend.
All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I drive 119 every day, both directions, and those statistics are really close. I used to drive it, and there'd be people flying past me at 70 miles an hour, 65, and now everybody does 48. That's it. Nobody goes over 48. So it's really, really helped on 119. But my question is, can these cameras detect multiple simultaneous violations? And that's a tough one, but
Yeah, that's a good question. The examples that I showed you is a camera from the company Obvio, and one of the more expensive example I gave you. So I'm not exactly sure how it would capture multiple violations simultaneously. Um, but that's a really good question. I could find out.
I can answer that.
yeah.
Because I was in Longmont. I was behind a car that was doing 40 in a 25.
Mhm.
And I was doing the same speed as them. And I saw the flash of the camera and it got them, but it didn't get me. So
Yeah.
it just apparently it only catches the first hit there. It's not fast enough to recycle and catch them one right after the other if they're all behind there.
Yeah, and this is clipping videos, so I don't know if that's a requirement that, from the start to finish of that video, it can't do anything else, and then it starts after that. Not, excuse me, I'm not sure. I could find out.
Speed cameras are different because they're taking a single snapshot of you the violation, but these are video. I'm wondering if it's, I mean, we have cameras that can detect multiple things happening, a tree moving and a dog walking by, and it'll say tree and dog. So I can't see why it wouldn't, maybe it's capable of doing that. So people are running stop signs in opposite directions. We have 2 violations instead of 1. It's a curiosity question, that's all.
Yep. No, I'll find out. That's a good question.
Trustee Hagan.
So it's $1,000 per month per camera plus $15 per ticket.
Yeah, I kind of threw out those as examples. That's combining different companies.
But the
one that's
15 is-
$1,000 a month is $10 a ticket. The one that you buy your own, kind of like upfront, the camera cost is $15 a ticket, and so there's some variation there.
It sounds like that Obvio is going to win and our residents are going to lose. I mean, they're going to be paying a lot of money out from all these flying tickets, and it seems like really bad PR when we're trying to get votes approved for funding of the police station and other things. So that's my take on it. But is there a short-term rental option? Because you'd only have to send them out for 1 month, and then people will be like, "Oh."
I think as long as you left something up there, that you'd probably get some effect out of that. But yeah, essentially that's what they see is obviously the locals learn really quickly. And then after that, I think the 30% that you're seeing are typically is people who are not familiar with the area or whatever that are coming through and committing those violations.
It'd be especially important in construction zones to make sure. I mean, those stop signs are weird depths at this intersection and, everywhere. You don't know where to stop all the time. It's just like you're constantly going to be getting weird violations sent out if you guys don't spend a lot of time really reviewing those. I don't know. I hate getting tickets in the mail. It's one of my least favorite things.
Thanks, Trustee Hagan. Trustee Adams.
Chief, obviously we talked about, the $1,000 a month. Is there a point where that would stop, or is that every month, regardless of how long you own the system? Is there like a total amount that when you hit it, it's yours, you own it?
I have no idea what those cameras cost, but that is their rental on the camera, essentially is $1,000 a month.
Thanks, Chief, for our safety briefing for this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Giving this information on our pedestrian cameras. All right, we'll move on to our town operations and maintenance mill levy Title 32 Metropolitan District and General Information District update or presentation by our town attorney, Marcus Miskaskin, who is on Zoom tonight. So, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope everybody can hear me now. I had to unmute myself.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to talk about tonight is one idea for generating additional revenue in the future for the town. Currently, the town of Mead requires the imposition of a 3 mill levy tax on any Title 32 metropolitan district or general improvement district. That requirement was codified in the code in 2020 and updated in 2022 to add general improvement districts. The main purpose of the town operation and maintenance mill levy is to ensure that new growth within the town pays its own way and contributes equitably to the town's ongoing operations and maintenance expenses associated with public improvements within the boundaries of each district, and which directly or indirectly serve development within the district. As I mentioned, this mill levy is currently set at 3 mills. There are some other jurisdictions in Colorado, including the town of Firestone, that now levies up to or requires the levy of a 5 mill levy tax on districts. So the purpose of this discussion with the board tonight is to see if there's interest in changing the town's regulations to require 5 mills in lieu of in lieu of 3 mills. And if that is the case, my office would work with staff to bring that forward in the coming months in the form of an ordinance to make updates to chapter of the code. Happy to stay up for any questions.
Before we get into discussion, Helen, do you have any other updates you want to give? I know that we talked about the retreat and we asked Marcus to come back with us tonight to give us more information. Would you like to highlight anything that the board would like to, consider?
Yeah, just to give a little context, first of all, Marcus has a cold and isn't feeling well, which is why he's on Zoom. So at our retreat, we talked about some different revenue enhancements ideas that town staff and the board had. And we started looking at the privilege tax, the warehouse tax, if you will. And as we started looking at it, and we realized there were a lot of pitfalls about uniformity, across all, not just picking one business. And we got to looking at something that's already there, which is both in our GIDs and in our metro districts, we have this 3 mill operating levy. That is, it can be used for the way we have it written now. It's primarily to do road improvements or maintenance, but it could be expanded to include any public services like police support. And what we see is the inequity of these large warehouses that often have police calls, but they don't really pay, an equitable share. So what Marcus is looking at is potentially raising that 3 mills to 5 mills. And as you know, if something doesn't have a metro district, then they have a general improvement district. We put that in several years ago. So it seems like it would be comparable to our neighbors, like in Firestone. And it has we would probably double the amount that we're bringing now. And what is it, Mary, about 200,000, 300,000?
About 250,000, 300,000 this year.
Okay, so we would be looking close to doubling that by adding the additional 2 mills. Now, this would only affect new development going forward, but it would really catch what we were talking about as far as that privilege tax, and it would be equitably distributed across all new development. So that's why we brought it for your consideration, because we try to bring back ideas that, we think would fulfill what you wanted to do. So Marcus is just presenting it here. If there is an interest by the board, we will bring it back as an ordinance.
All right, thank you. Questions, Trustee Hagan, but I just wanted to mention, because we do have 2 trustees, that maybe we should start with our standard service plan and walk through it for them at an additional meeting, maybe at the retreat in April. Is kind of like if there would be something, an appetite to even like, but I don't know if Trustee Hagan or Trustee Crane has even looked at or has, the time or has had the time to look at our service agreement plan and how that works and how that we've set this standard and that other municipalities have actually come to us to ask how we got there. So I'll go ahead, Trustee Hagan.
I just want to say that she answered my question. I didn't know if it was only for new development or whether it was retroactive to any metro district.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Trustee Schranz and then Trustee Cartwright.
Could it have any potential in slowing business opportunities here?
I would probably say it wouldn't be a big factor, especially given that a lot of model service plans are adopting the 5 mils. It's becoming more standard. So I think if anybody were weighing, oh, I want to go to Mead versus Firestone, Johnstown, I don't think we'd lose a competitive advantage. Now, when you start talking, the big differences, like when you talk about the frailty of metro districts where they have like 100 mils aggregate, especially on residential, I think you're talking about not just a competitive advantage, but disadvantage, but an incredible tax burden on future residents. This, to me, is it's equitable in that the town is providing the services and it's an ongoing revenue stream, but it's also an ongoing service that the town provides. So I don't think so. I don't think it would put us at a competitive disadvantage, not with 2 mils.
Okay, thanks.
Chris.
I just want to clarify, this is for businesses only and not new development for residential.
So actually,
I-
Trustee Cartwright, that this would be for all new development prospectively. It would be
Okay.
residential, commercial, or mixed use development.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Does anybody like my idea of bringing it back so you can actually take a look at what our model stands for and what we do and how it's compared to Berthoud and Firestone? I think that more of instead of making a decision now to go forward, I think we need to have more information, if that would be possible. Marcus, would that be okay?
So if I'm understanding, you would not want to bring this proposed ordinance back immediately, but rather have a session in the future to review the model service plan?
Well, I'm not sure. That's my suggestion. But I leave that up to board to bring any more further discussion on bringing in a new ordinance at the next meeting. I'm not sure that, I just brought it up that Trustee Hagan and Trustee Crane have not, I don't know if they have, but it was an idea that we could actually go through the model together and figure out, if we want to go this way, and then we have a robust, dedicated discussion on it. Just thought I'd bring it up.
Yes, I would like more time to review that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Anything else? Okay. Thanks, Marcus. Sorry to dive into that. I just thought it'd be more advantageous to the new trustees to take a deeper dive into it. I think it's important that we look at all facets of new development coming our way. So thank you, Marcus.
I couldn't agree more. And let's just have a full discussion at a future retreat. And we'll kind of flesh this out a little bit more for everybody and make sure that all the questions are answered.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a month and a half, so I know we're not doing too much, to go further down. So
Well, and what Marcus and I can look at is our model service plan, as well as the other communities, because several communities adopted theirs after we did ours.
Mhm.
I think we did it in about 18 or 19. So it's probably a good idea just to look around and see what everybody is. And speaking to Trustee Schrantz's thing about being competitive, it's probably a good idea just to see where everybody is. So,
yeah,
okay. If everybody's okay with that, we'll do that.
okay. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, board. All right, we'll move on to our proclamation. The first one is Black History Month, February 2026. I've asked Trustee Schrantz to read the proclamation tonight.
Proclamation for Black History Month, February 2026. Whereas February has historically been celebrated as Black History Month in homage to the rich history and contributions of Black Americans who have shaped our nation in countless ways throughout centuries of struggle and triumph. And whereas Black history recognition was first proposed by scholar Carter G. Woodson in 1926 in the United States as a week-long celebration. And whereas in the 1960s, the week was expanded into Black History Month, coinciding with Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln's birthday in February. And whereas in 1986, Congress passed Public Law 99-244, which designated February 1986 as National Black Afro-American History Month. This law directed the president to issue a proclamation calling on the people of the United States to observe February 1986 as Black History Month. And whereas Black History Month honors all Black people from all periods of U.S. history, from enslaved people first brought over from Africa in the early 17th century to African Americans living in the United States today. And whereas since 1926, other countries have joined the United States in celebrating Black people and their contributions to history and culture. And whereas observing Black History Month provides opportunities to gain a deeper understanding of history and acknowledge the centuries of struggle for equality and freedom. And whereas we must not forget the men and women who worked tirelessly for freedom, civil rights, and equality for all people, and whose deeds have helped shape and enrich American culture. And now, therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of Town of Mead, Weld County, Colorado, does hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month and call us to draw inspiration from this legacy as we continue together on the path towards equality, liberty, and opportunity for all. Given under her hand and seal of Town of Mead on this 9th day of February 2026.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I make a motion to approve the signing of the proclamation.
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
trustee Schranz,
Yes.
trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next is National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, which is right around the corner, February 15th, 2026. I've asked Trustee Cartwright to please read the proclamation tonight.
Proclamation, National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, February 15th, 2026. Whereas the National Association of School Resource Officers, NASRO, is dedicated to making schools and children safer by providing quality training to school-based law enforcement officers. Whereas school resource officers bridge the gap between youth and law enforcement and embrace the triad concept of school policing, serving in informal counseling, education, and law enforcement roles to support students and the communities that they serve. Whereas by training law enforcement officers to counsel, educate, and protect school communities, the men and women of NASRO continuously lead by example and promote a positive image of law enforcement to school children and school communities. Whereas SRO programs across the globe are founded as collaborative efforts by police agencies, law enforcement officers, educators, students, parents, and communities to create safe learning environments, provide valuable resources to school staff members, foster positive relationships with students, and develop strategies to resolve problems that affect youth with the goal of protecting all children so they can reach to their fullest potential. Whereas school resource officers are valuable and essential members of the education community and deserve unwavering respect and support from the community they serve in pursuit of keeping schools and students safe. Now, therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor, does hereby designate February 15th, 2026 as National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, given under her hand and seal at the town of Mead, Colorado on this 9th day of February 2026.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I'll move to approve the signing of the proclamation.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Schranz,
Yes.
trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of our Mead School Resource Officers and our district officers and globally around the world, taking care of our children and their families. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the public comment for the night. The first one, the board welcomes public comment at this time for any item on the agenda. We will also take comments on items not on the agenda during the second public item, number 10. Please remember that public comment is not intended to be a question and answer session. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. All comments should be directed to the Board of Trustees and not to specific individuals. If you wish to speak during this first public comment period, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Please start by stating your full name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the Board of Trustees. If you're representing a group, you will have 5 minutes. We ask that all speakers and audience members treat one another with respect and dignity. Let's ensure we maintain a welcome environment and avoid any actions that could be distracting. Ms. Strutt, do we have anyone signed in for this public comment period?
I don't believe anyone signed in for this first one.
Okay, is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak to the board on an agenda item? All right, thank you. We'll move on to consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are approved with one motion and vote. I want to recognize staff for putting together these items and the board for reviewing them ahead of tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schranz,
Yes.
trustee Crane,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
trustee Hagan,
Yes.
trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Motion carries for the consent agenda. Thank you again, staff, for putting this together. We have no further general business, so this brings us to our second regular public comment period, which would be for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. We will follow the same guidelines previously stated. I will call on individuals in the order that they have signed in. Again, I ask all speakers and audience members to treat one another with respect. And is there anyone that would like to, we'll go by list first and then anybody in the audience.
Certainly. Brian Fessler.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. My name is Brian Fessler. I reside at 16927 McKay Drive in the Highlands Mead Metro District. I have the pleasure of serving as the president of that district, Mayor, and I would ask for your consideration. I'm representing approximately 200 homeowners today, so if I could have just shy of that 5 minutes, I would appreciate it.
You bet, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm here today to raise ongoing and unresolved issues related to public infrastructure and landscape maintenance involving the developer Highlands Mead LLC and the town of Mead. Based on recommendations from the town engineer, this board of trustees granted conditional acceptance of public and landscape improvements for phases 1A1, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D on various dates in the years 2020, 2021, and 2022. As you know, the Mead Municipal Code requires the developer to maintain these improvements for a 2-year period following that conditional acceptance. During that period, the developer must, at its own expense, take all necessary actions to maintain the improvements and make any repairs or replacements deemed necessary by the town or the town engineer. If the developer fails to do so, the Mead Municipal Code authorizes the town to withhold final acceptance, suspend building permits or certificates of occupancy, or take other actions allowed under the subdivision improvement agreement, including drawing on the developer's letters of credit. According to the deputy town engineer, none of the public or landscape improvements have received final acceptance, and significant punch list items remain outstanding that are estimated to cost approximately $1.6 million. As recently stated by the deputy town engineer, quote, "We are no closer to a resolution with the developer than we were last month," unquote. It has been almost 2 years since the last conditional warranty period expired, and there's been zero enforcement by the town. Complicating matters further, the Developer Controlled District Board adopted a resolution on February 27, 2023, accepting maintenance responsibility for the Phase 1 landscaping improvements, even though final acceptance had not been granted by the town and some of the improvements were still under that 2-year conditional warranty period. This is not consistent with customary or prudent practice. As a direct result of that acceptance, the district incurred substantial costs that should have remained the developer's responsibility. To date, those costs exceed $250,000, including landscaping, irrigation repairs, tree replacements, water and electricity, and backflow testing, just to name a few. The district intends to formally pursue reimbursement from the developer and/or available letters of credit to the extent permitted by law. As noted by our former district accountant, the district is in dire financial straits, and it is barely able to meet its expenses and its obligations. Under the prior developer-controlled board, this burden was addressed by repeatedly increasing the operations and maintenance fees, which now total $1,400 per homeowner per year, an amount that's excessive and, frankly, unsustainable. The current homeowner-controlled board, which I represent as its president, has determined that the circumstances surrounding the prior acceptance of maintenance responsibilities have materially changed. Continuing to carry these costs exposes the district and its residents to ongoing and unreasonable financial risk. Accordingly, the district has rescinded that prior acceptance resolution and reaffirmed that responsibility for these improvements remains with the developer until the town grants final acceptance. We're not asking for special treatment, Mayor, Board of Trustees, only enforcement. The Mead Municipal Code and the Subdivision Improvement Agreement provide clear remedies, and we respectfully request that the town hold the developer accountable until final acceptance is properly achieved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite others before I'm going to have our town attorney address your concerns, sir, in just a moment. But what I'd like to do, and we really don't really have our staff come, but I think it's important that folks that are here for this topic tonight that get some kind of clarity. But I'd like to ask, Mary, is there anyone else on the list that would like to speak during this public comment period?
I'm going to call the names of those that signed in, and if you wish to speak, go ahead. I understand that some of you also live in that neighborhood, and perhaps Mr. Fessler spoke on your behalf. Lucinda, is it Bowen? Bowen? Would you like to speak?
Just to piggyback.
Could you, ma'am, could you
If
come
you'd like to
up to
come
the
to the podium.
microphone? Just for the record, please, your name and address.
Lucinda Bown, 3315 Dryden Place, Mead, Colorado. Just to piggyback on some of my comments, I've been a resident since May 24th of 2023 and have commented on dead trees in the past. I was referring to some of my notes this evening, and I attended the HOA meeting on December 16th, 2024. So prior to that, I brought dead trees to the attention. I was told that it's fall. We can't tell if they're dead or not. We'll have to wait until next spring. Well, another year goes by. Nothing has been done. So it's a concern for the neighborhood, for my neighbors, for myself, and I am happy to water the trees if they need extra tender loving care. But it would be really nice if someone would step up and take responsibility for that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Lucas Salazar?
Hi, I'm Lucas. Is it on?
Mhm.
All right. I'm Lucas Salazar. I live at 16726 Chilton Drive. I want to thank Brian for bringing this to my attention and your attention. I just want to say that I recently got permits for my backyard to improve a roof, and the municipal code there is for a reason. So if these things need to be fixed and addressed by the town of Mead, or to help us enforce that for the developers, then it should be done. So thank you again, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Chris Brown. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm Chris Brown. I live at 3102 Beaumont Boulevard in the Highlands subdivision. And yeah, I just saw an email about the meeting tonight, so I just thought I would thank Brian for that and just add kind of support if there I think just be like a request if there are violations that occurred that the town is or not the town, but the developer is responsible for. There are violations of the code, just encouraging review of those. And sometimes, all it can take is just issuing some type of, warning letter or a letter of violation, and maybe that, helps resolve the issue, without, need for further kind of enforcement escalation. So just kind of encourage a review of whether violations occurred, and if they did, just kind of accountability for the developer, because certainly as a resident, I've seen between taxes and then those increases in the O&M costs. It's an added burden, certainly financially. And so if there's something that can be done to ameliorate that, I would be very supportive of that and appreciative. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sonny Martinez. Okay. Pam Myrick.
Pam Myrick, I live at 3112 Beaumont Boulevard. I built my house and moved in 2021. Next door to Chris, we were kind of the first group that moved in there. I have made comments on Zoom calls to the other directors or the people involved to know changes whatsoever. And so I've seen it. We're going into 5 years now, and there's a lot of things that aren't taken care of. And it makes you not happy or proud to be living in the Highlands in Mead. When some of us, this is our last house. We've retired. We built our retirement home, and we're paying a lot of money for this. So thanks. If you can help, that'd be great.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all that have
Okay.
signed in, Mayor.
Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak to the board on either this subject or anything else? Okay, I appreciate you all coming tonight. I really do. I think it's important that everybody hears the voice. Brian, thank you very much for stepping up for your HOA Metro District. I want to actually pass over the microphone to our town attorney that can explain a little bit of I guess, relationship between town of Mead and the Metro District kind of thing. And then if we have extra questions, we may stay behind and you can ask Helen. If you all want to stay behind, you can ask questions before that. This is our business meeting. We try to get through it, but if there's something else that you want to discuss after the meeting, we'll be more than happy to take your questions and concerns then. So, Marcus, could you please address the relationship and anything else that you want to say to keep me out of jail and to keep So anyway, Marcus, you have the floor if you can hear us.
Sure, Mayor and trustees. Well, first of all, thank you to Mr. Fessler and the residents of Highlands for coming tonight. I just want to say that my office received some emails in the past few weeks from the district's attorney, which is White Bear Ankley, specifically Blair Dickhoner, and I believe the representation of the district has been transitioned to Sean Allen in that office. So they did bring it to our attention that there were some problems with landscaping and that the district is continuing to work independently on enforcement remedies that they may pursue independently against the developer. As of January 28th, there was an email that was sent to me that said that the board of directors and the district manager was working on a summary of concerns. To my knowledge, we have not received that yet, but obviously, we'll work with our engineering department if there is anything that we can do in terms of assisting with a resolution here utilizing the existing warranty letter of credit, that's something to look at. But ultimately, this is going to be an issue for the district as an independent governmental entity to solve. But the good news is, as has been stated, is that final acceptance of the landscaping has not yet been granted. So we will do what we can to cooperate with the district. But we are just starting the process of looking into this. As I indicated, this was not brought to our attention until just the past few weeks. But so this is on our radar.
Thank you, Marcus. Helen, did you want to jump in at all? You don't have to. I just thought I'd just give you the opportunity.
No, I mean, this really is the first that I became aware of it, and I'm sure I'll be talking to Marcus about it, and I'm thankful for the respectful conversation, and I feel the frustration of the people because I have noticed the dead trees when I drive through the neighborhood, and I wondered why they were all dying and why they weren't replaced. But we'll definitely look into it and see if we have any way to do any leveraging to make this happen because, I mean, it is disturbing to think we started into some kind of acceptance 4 or 5 years ago and it still hasn't been completed. So if we have a dog in this hunt, we're absolutely going to do what we can. And even if we don't, these are Mead residents just the same. It's not like they check their residency at the edge of the metro district. They're still part of the community, and we'll do whatever we can to try to get this situation resolved.
Thank you very much for everybody for coming tonight, and then we'll move on to our.
I have a question actually. Does the town hold the letter of credit, or what do we have? And did we have to sign to release that? So, or would that still be live with the bank?
The letter of credit under the subdivision improvement agreement would be held by the town. Our form letter of credit automatically renews every year. I mean, I don't have the details on this one.
But typically we would have to sign to release it, right?
The release would not, the letter of credit would not be released unless and until the Board of Trustees issues final acceptance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much again. And we'll move on to legislative update. And of course, I'm going to turn it back over to our town attorney, Marcus Miskaskin.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. Very briefly, in terms of a legislative update tonight, this is the start of 5 of the legislative session. Legislature convened on January 14th, and they're scheduled to adjourn on May 13th of this year. There have been a total of 256 bills introduced so far in the session. The Colorado Municipal League, or CML, is actively tracking a number of these and has taken a formal support or opposed position on 28 of the 256 bills to date. For those of you that are interested, the CML advocacy team is hosting a legislative preview event on Thursday, February 12th at noon. If any of you are interested, please reach out to Mary or feel free to email me and I will forward you the registration link for that event. I'd like to briefly provide updates on 4 bills that we are tracking this session. The first is House Bill 261036, local taxes on vacant residential property. This is a bill initiated by CML and authorizes counties and municipalities with voter approval to impose an excise tax on vacant residential properties. The revenue raised from the excise tax must be used to fund affordable, attainable, and workforce housing projects, with the goal being to incentivize property owners to activate vacant housing rather than leave existing housing stock vacant. It's my understanding that this bill may be more targeted to mountain or recreational ski communities, but we'll see. I do anticipate that there will be a number of amendments or revisions to this bill as it moves through both chambers. This bill also allows 2 or more local governments to form a joint local housing tax authority to collectively establish and administer these taxes across multiple jurisdictions. The second bill is House Bill 261001. This is the Housing Developments on Qualifying Properties, or the HOME Act. HOME Act being an acronym for Housing Opportunities Made Easier. This is the redo of the YIGB legislation from the 2025 session, or the Yes in God's Backyard bill. House Bill 261001 was passed on third reading this past Friday, February 6th. The bill preempts local land use authority by allowing schools, higher education institutions, public housing authorities, and housing-related nonprofits to develop residential properties on land they own through an administrative approval process. This bill now will move on to the Senate. In CML's position paper, CML has summarized the HOME Act as, quote, an aggressive, untested, and unconstitutional interference that relies on preemptions and not leadership, and asserts that, quote, the bill rejects 100 years of state policy promoting sound land use planning. CML is urging local elected officials to contact your senators and urge a no vote on this HOME Act. The third bill I'll summarize is Senate Bill 26070, banning government access historical location information database. This is also referred to as the PEEPS Act and was introduced on January 28th and has been assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee. The bill significantly hinders law enforcement's ability to access and share historical location information, defined as information revealing the location of an individual or vehicle more than 24 hours prior to the date of access. Specifically, the bill requires a warrant to access location data older than 24 hours, requires all data older than 4 days to be permanently deleted, limits data sharing outside an agency's jurisdiction, mandates detailed departmental policies, requires supervisory approval for each system search, and requires reporting on who accessed the system, who approved access, and for what purpose. The bill also includes a broad definition of database that could include routine case files related to warrant requirements, renders improperly accessed data inadmissible in criminal and civil proceedings, and authorizes enforcement by the Attorney General. CML is opposed to this bill, and I'm pretty sure Chief Newbanks is opposed to the bill as well. House Bill, finally, the fourth bill, House Bill 261114, concerning an allowed minimum lot size for subject jurisdictions. This was introduced last week on Tuesday, February 3rd, has been assigned to the Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee. I believe I'm still getting confirmation that this is the lot split bill that I mentioned back in January. This bill requires that on and after October 1st of 2031, a subject jurisdiction shall not require a minimum lot size of greater than 2,000 square feet if the parcel's residential use is limited to a single family home. Right now, as you know, it has some zone districts like RSFE with a minimum lot size of 2.5 acres and RSF1 with a minimum lot size of 1 acre. So it would be interesting to see how a minimum lot size of 2,000 square feet would play out. This bill includes some legislative findings that rising land costs are a significant driver of unaffordable housing in Colorado, and also includes a legislative determination that allowing a consistent minimum lot size for single-family residential parcels is a matter of mixed state and local concern. As you know, characterizing the issue as a mixed issue of state and local concern means that the state, at least at this point in time, is wanting this state law to potentially take precedence conflicting home rule ordinances. This new bill is scheduled to be reviewed by the CML Policy Committee on February 20th. That concludes my brief legislative summary for this evening. Happy to stand for any questions.
How many more weeks do we have?
Well,
Too many, right? Too many.
It's May 13th, so we've got a ways to go. We're
Right.
very early in the session.
Questions or comments for Marcus tonight? All right. Thanks for that brief update, Marcus. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We appreciate it, and hopefully you get better soon.
Well, thank you. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to affect anybody tonight. So thank you.
Right. Thank you. All right. We'll move on to elected official reports. Town trustees, do you have anything else to report out tonight? Trustee Strands?
I'd like to talk a little bit about strategic planning. I know the town has for the last month tried to get the board put together so that we can have this meeting that we had talked about for numerous years. It doesn't seem that we're getting any closer. So I'm going to propose that we delegate a date. I'm going to say that February 21st, which is a Saturday, should be the date to do strategic planning. Start at 9 o'clock and we'll end when it's done. If we don't do something, we're never going to get to that point. We've been bouncing this thing around. Mark has just talked to us about House Bill 1001, which concerns me a lot. That's the bill that's going to have an impact on land use codes and things of that nature. And if we don't get some sort of plan put together, we're going to be behind that 8 ball and no recourse. So I want to move forward. We got to get this thing going. If 7 of us can't go, 7 of us can't go, but we can't wait any longer. I'm just moving forward. So my proposal is for February 21st, and I'm open. If that works for everybody or not, I am willing to meet with Helen and Mary tomorrow and put together an agenda and get the agenda out to all the board members by Wednesday morning so they've got time to review some of this stuff. And we'll move forward with this thing and get this ball rolling. Strategic planning is not going to be done in one meeting. It'll take multiple meetings, but we certainly need to get this ball moving. We need to get at least a working outline so that we can move forward with some of this stuff. We got to get that stake stuck in the ground, and we're not doing very good at that. So
Thank you for the discussion. I know that we have tried many weeks now to get everybody signed up for doodle polls and different things. And I know that Chris LeMay needs to be there for us to do that. So I don't know if Chris LeMay can come on a Saturday. That's the only thing.
frankly, Mayor, I don't even think we need a facilitator.
Well, it's not
I think,
facilitated.
in the past, we've used facilitators. The last time we used a facilitator, burned up half of our time doing team building, and that's not a team building meeting. This is a strategic planning kind of meeting. So I think it's, like I said, it's going to take multiple meetings. We're not going to get a strategic plan in one pass. I think we can do it ourselves. I don't think that we need somebody there. I think we do need staff, Helen, Mary, and some other staff people, Marcus. We need a good scribe. Personally, I would like a meeting room with a whiteboard and multiple flip charts so that we can document everything that we do, because it's going to be a continuous moving meeting. So that's my position on that. I got to get this ball moving.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it for months. So
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to Helen because we've already set a date, I guess, for the retreat in April to go and do this. But I will open it up for discussion for you all tonight because, we've all discussed this and wanted to move forward in January, and now we're in February. So thoughts? It's our retreat, guys. It's our strategic planning. We need to be involved and put the time in it, and we need to get this done. So this is one of our goals, our top priority for the year. So February 21st.
Okay.
Okay. Jeremiah.
Good.
Okay. Chris.
Yeah, I'm already.
Trustee Hagan. February 21st.
Possibly. I can't commit to it for sure, but I've got some things coming up, but it may work. Is that you said it's Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Works better than a weekday.
Yes.
All right. So I'll work with staff, if you don't mind, getting this done. And I will turn it over to staff because it's we're there, but I want to make sure staff is going to be available.
I think,
To
if
do
I
that.
may, I think the retreat that we just got scheduled for April, that's our quarterly retreat. That's a retreat. I think this is a unique, separate meeting, has got nothing to do with what we do in our retreats. We have a specific subject that we're going after. So
Mhm.
I would leave April 4th, if that's the date, for our normally scheduled retreat and treat that as we do. But February 21st would be the start of a strategic meeting, strategic planning sessions. And I'll open it to the board. You want me to sit with Helen and Mary and put together an agenda just to get it out so that people have something, some guidance on what we're going to talk about, some direction? I would be more than happy to do that. If you don't want me to do that, I won't do that. It's okay. But I think we need something to get to the board members.
I'd like to see a draft.
Yeah.
And allow us all to have input to it before we just set an agenda be set by
That's fine.
that group.
So just one question. So the inclusion, Chris LeMay isn't a facilitator like
Right.
these other people that come and ask you what color you are or whatever those, those various exercises, not Black History Month, but I mean like the color of your personality. I mean, we all know how irritating those are, and many people think they waste time. That isn't why he would be part of this. First of all, they're the primary funding source for strategic planning. I mean, that's our partner. And Chris LeMay, who was a town manager of Windsor, wasn't he?
I know
Mary?
Chris.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it could be Windsor.
But his role is not facilitating, more guiding the discussion of what you got to click off. So we weren't trying to find another person to make you guys take personality tests. We were trying to find this. It is used by all the towns. It's done through them. So just take it for what it was. But if you want to have a retreat that's separate from that and you want to just kind of brainstorm, that's fine too. I just wanted to make it clear why we were trying to get him on his calendar, because it's twofold. One is he's done it before, and two, we want to stay on his good side because we know that we would be grant eligible and it's really helpful to keep the partnership. So, but I'm happy to do it without, whatever.
My suggestion, and I know Chris, and I've been through, both of us have been through strategic planning sessions with DOLA, and they have an agenda that they bring to the table, and that doesn't necessarily work for strategic planning in my view. I don't have any problem after we get stuff settled down to review it past him. But, what I want to stay away from is, well, you can't do that because all towns do it this way. I don't care how all towns do it. I want Mead to have its own strategic plan. That's where I'm at with that. And I know Chris, and he's a great guy, so it's nothing against Chris.
Could you remind me what the schedule is for the parks and open space update?
Had an open house on Saturday. Yeah.
An open house on Saturday. Todd, can you come up and what schedule are you looking for?
Like, I'd like to have that as part of our discussion, right? Because aren't we talking about putting studies out or RFPs for studies for updating the comp plan and updating, the code? And I guess we're kind of doing that one now. But the parks is part of that if you want to look at comprehensive.
Absolutely. That it is part of it. And I believe it's scheduled for adoption in the fall. Is that correct? Okay. So it is later this summer, but we are, getting to the real nuts and bolts of it as far as recommendations go. But I totally agree with you, because if you remember the last time they came in, they talked about a community survey and what people would support and, how are we going to fund this? And it dovetails right into the strategic plan.
So do you want me to meet with Helen and do a draft? You do that? Okay. Well, can I help you with some input?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So February 21st. Okay, and we don't have a meeting before then. So we need to set some parameters about when we can and can't. You need to figure it on your calendar. Would 48 hours work to see if you can make the 21st? by February 11th. Okay, Brad.
What time are you thinking?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. to
I'll bring donuts
6 or whatever?
till it's done.
Okay. Nobody leaves the room till
Sorry.
it's done? Okay.
Oh, I'm getting.
Are you sure you don't want to have that just with the board?
Be able to stick the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
thing, but I will make the effort to be there.
Okay.
Do you want staff there or do you want to do this
Staff's
just as a
fine.
board retreat?
That's fine, and you can open it to the public. There's no secret stuff here.
Yeah.
I think it's just as important that the public understand that we are trying to put together a strategic plan and we have some direction that we want to move forward in.
All right. So can you please let Mary know? Let Mary know if you can make the 21st, and then we'll do an agenda with input from all of you. And then we'll make sure that we have a place to go, and it won't be somewhere way far away. It'll be just within the town, and then everybody will have an invitation to come, and we'll do it then.
Give me a whiteboard and some flip chart paper.
Okay.
I know it is. It's
Yeah.
changing.
Okay. Any trustees want to bring anything else up? Okay. I just have a few updates. Okay, guys. Pretty exciting. I just want to let you know that today was the last day that the transportation commissioners would accept any public comment for their 10-year plan, and they're proposing to adopt that in March. After that, we're hoping and crossing our fingers that we will be approved for our 61 application is the on and off ramp for County Road 38 and I-25. It has been put into the plan and very excited. It is a $57 million ask. So that alone, and it is slated for 2025 to 2029. So we're hopeful that the commissioners will approve the 10-year plan provided by all these different entities around the state. This is the whole state. And then hopefully we will get our application sometime in April, May timeframe to get that approved and try to find funding for that. So I thought I'd share that with you. I think it's very important that we keep on top of this. We have a lot of transportation issues right now and projects that are happening, but, making sure that we know that there's going to be some hopeful on and off area for, first responders and safety issues and in potential development. Of course, Marcus mentioned the February 12th, the webinar for CML. The workshop is on the 19th. CML is doing a legislative workshop, and they do that annually. And then the 20th, we'll be attending the policy committee, which is starting at 8 a.m. So we're all down in the Denver area working to provide updates on what legislation is hopefully not unmandating us to do. One last really important thing, I think it's important to recognize our town of Mead staff in the town of Berthoud. On Tuesday night, President Trump signed into law $1 million for our County Road 7 to be paved. It's not obviously we need way more money, but I am very proud to say that Congressman Evans called me on Wednesday afternoon stating that the appropriation bill was signed, and we were one of the 15 community projects in his area, which is Weld County and some surrounding other counties, to be selected to move forward with that improvement. So I just want to say thank you to our town of Mead staff, the town of Berthoud for their ongoing welcoming, efforts with us, and of course the county and the CDOT with all of their efforts too. So, and with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. The February 9th, 2026 meeting Board of Trustees is now adjourned at 7:28. Please drive home safely, and thank you for joining us tonight. Thanks.
And we're done, right? And for all.